Welcome to the deep dive. Picture this. You're standing on a stunning beach in Phuket. Sun going down, waves are gentle. It's the dream, right? Owning that perfect slice of paradise in Thailand. But turning that dream into reality, well, especially when it comes to property ownership for foreigners, it's less fairy tale, more legal maze. A fascinating one, though. Today, we're going to try and give you the map, the compass, to understand those twists and turns in places like Phuket. Cut through some of the noise. Our insights for this deep dive, they come from a really detailed article by Ocean Worldwide. And these guys aren't just any agency. Ocean Worldwide is a luxury real estate agency. They've been right there in Phuket since, 2004. They focus specifically on high-end residential stuff in Phuket and Koh Samui, too. And their director, Sandra O'Neill, she's got decades of experience. We're talking helping literally thousands of families and investors figure this stuff out. So this isn't just theory. It's real-world, boots-on-the-ground knowledge. Okay, let's unpack this for you.
Yeah, it's a great source. And one thing the article really stresses is, look, the appeal of owning property in Phuket is huge, obviously, but Thailand's legal framework for foreign land ownership, it's very specific. It's definitely not like buying back home in, say, the UK or the US. So our mission today is really to simplify these complexities, pull out the essentials from this source, and just arm you with what you really need to know before you even think about making a move.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning. The basic rule. As a foreigner, you generally can't own land freehold directly. In Thailand, meaning, owning the land itself outright in your name forever. It's just not the standard setup. But then you hear about this common alternative using a Thai company. And lots of people immediately think, loophole, easy peasy. But the source material from Ocean Worldwide is very clear. It's much more nuanced than that, a lot more involved than just a simple workaround.
Exactly. That loophole idea is a bit dangerous, actually. The core legal requirement is the 51% Thai shareholding rule. At least 51% of the company's shares must be held by Thai nationals. Now, your first thought might be, well, okay, then I don't have control.
Right. Yeah, exactly. How does that work?
But this is where it gets interesting, and it's a key insight from the article. Legal ownership percentage doesn't automatically mean operational control. You can use carefully drafted shareholder agreements, specific voting rights, things that mean a foreign investor, even with a minority shareholding, can still effectively control major decisions. Things like appointing directors, approving big transactions, deciding on profit distribution. It's about the structure, the legal framework you build within the company.
Right. So it's about structuring for control, not just ticking the ownership box. That makes a lot more sense.
Precisely. And that leads straight to the next really critical point. This company needs legitimate business operations.
Right.
The Thai authorities, they look closely. They want to see a real functioning business, not just, a piece of paper set up to get around the land laws.
So, it actually has to do something.
Yes. The article points out they'll look at things like, is it actively operating? Is it making any money, generating revenue? Is it paying its taxes properly? These are all signs of a genuine business, a shell company. No activity, no income. That's a massive red flag. That's asking for trouble.
Okay, so definitely not a set it and forget it situation then. You got to run it like a real business. But with all this complexity, why do people do it? What are the upsides that make investors willing to jump through these hoops? What's the big draw?
That's the key question, isn't it? Well, probably the biggest advantage, the main reason people go this route, is it gives them access to freehold property. And it's not just about the ownership tag, it's about that fundamental security, that level of control over the land itself, which is normally off limits to foreigners directly. That's the big prize.
Okay. Access to freehold. That's powerful.
It really is. And once you have this legitimate Thai company set up, it also opens the door to what the article calls enhanced investment opportunities. Suddenly, you can build and manage a property portfolio more strategically. Think long-term, especially in a growing market like Thailand. It's not just one holiday home anymore.
So potential for scaling up your investments.
Exactly. And beyond just property, there's also the potential for business expansion. If you're actually thinking of running a business in Thailand, a restaurant, a shop, whatever, having this company already established makes getting permits, licenses, acquiring land for commercial use, it just makes everything smoother. So it can be a really useful platform for broader business goals in the region, too.
Okay, it definitely sounds like it can be a really effective tool then. Gives you a solid base for investing, maybe even doing business. But like anything powerful, misuse it, and, things can go wrong. The source material's pretty blunt about the downsides, too. Let's shift gears. Talk about the serious potential legal consequences if you try to play fast and loose with the rules.
Right, and this raises an important question, doesn't it? What does happen if you try to cut corners? The article really digs into the danger of using nominee shareholders. This is a big one. Using Thai people just as names on paper with no real involvement simply to meet the 51% rule. That's explicitly illegal. It's really risky.
How risky? Like a fine?
It can be much worse than a fine. If the authorities see the company as just a front for foreign ownership, you could face severe penalties. We're talking hefty fines, yes, but also serious legal action. They're getting better at spotting these setups. It could lead to the company being dissolved, you could forfeit the property, maybe even get blacklisted from investing in Thailand again. The message hammered home again and again is the company must be a real, legitimate business actively trading and making money. That's the absolute core principle. It separates what's legal from what's basically fraud.
Okay, that's stark. Legitimacy is non-negotiable.
And beyond the purely legal side, there are also significant financial risks and liabilities to consider. It's not free to run a company, right? There are registration fees up front, which can be thousands. Then you've got ongoing accounting costs, monthly or quarterly fees, plus mandatory annual audits. These can easily run into hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars every year.
So ongoing costs you need to budget for.
Absolutely. And if your property isn't generating rental income, or if your planned business isn't actually trading yet, these overheads can just drain your capital. What looked good initially becomes a money pit. Plus, remember, as the key person involved, you're potentially liable for the company's debts, any legal claims against it. It's not just the initial price tag, it's the running costs and the potential liabilities down the line.
Right. And one more thing you mentioned, regulations changing.
Yes, that's crucial too. The impact of regulatory changes. Thai laws aren't set in stone. Rules around foreign ownership, taxation, company structures, they can evolve. What's okay today might be restricted tomorrow. So you absolutely need to stay informed, be adaptable. Having good local advisors is key here to keep you updated.
Wow. It really does hammer home that you can't just waltz in assuming things work like they do back home, especially somewhere like Phuket. The whole landscape is different. So this brings us to avoiding the pitfalls. We know nominee shareholders are a huge no-no, but practically, what happens if one of these dodgy setups actually unravels? What's the real-world fallout?
It can be catastrophic, frankly. Beyond just fines, you could genuinely lose your entire investment. Imagine the nominee suddenly decides to assert their legal ownership based on the share structure, or the whole company structure gets declared void by the authorities. You could be left with literally no legal claim to the property you paid for.
Okay, that's terrifying. So how do you protect yourself? Due diligence.
Due diligence is absolutely paramount, non-negotiable. You need to investigate the property itself meticulously. Check the title deed. Is it clean? Get a proper land survey done. Are the boundaries correct? Are there any outstanding debts or liens against the property? You even need to check local zoning and environmental rules. Can you actually build what you want or use the land how you intend? Skipping any of this is just asking for trouble later on.
Makes sense. Check everything twice.
Or 3 times. And when it comes to actually protecting your investment, the article from Ocean Worldwide gives really clear, actionable advice. First, get independent legal advice. Cannot stress this enough. Don't just use the lawyer the agent or the developer pushes on you. Their loyalty might be split. You need someone who works only for you.
Your own lawyer.
Yes. Someone who will dig into the building permits, check the company structure is sound, sniff out potential problems before they bite you. Second, ensure genuinely transparent business operations. We keep coming back to this, but the company must be active. It needs real revenue, proper financial records, proof it's paying its taxes. And third, clear shareholder agreements. Think of this as the prenuptial agreement for your business venture. It needs to spell out everything: rights, responsibilities, decision-making, voting, profit distribution, how you resolve disputes if things go sour. Get it all down on paper clearly.
That's a solid checklist.
Yeah.
Rigorous, but sounds absolutely essential. And maybe even more critical when you factor in the lack of regulation in the property market in Thailand generally. It's not like the West, where agents need licenses and there are strict controls. The article points this out. It can feel a bit like the Wild West sometimes, right? Which opens the door for, well, less scrupulous people, like the issue of unqualified agents. It's scary to think you could be trusting your life savings to someone who just decided yesterday they're a property expert with no actual training or oversight body.
Exactly. There's no central licensing authority, so pretty much anyone can call themselves an agent. They might not understand Thai property law properly, they might use high-pressure sales tactics, or even misrepresent ownership structures just to get a commission. It really is buyer beware.
So what kind of risks does that lack of regulation create on the ground?
Well, it leads to a whole range of risks of unregulated practices. You might find developers cutting corners on construction quality to save costs. Projects might not actually comply with zoning laws or environmental regulations, which could cause huge problems later. There's the risk of developers just overpromising on facilities or timelines and then underdelivering. Or, worst case, the developer goes bankrupt mid-project and buyers lose everything they've put in.
Ouch.
Yeah. So doing your due diligence isn't just about the property title, it's also about vetting the developer themselves. What's their track record? What have they built before? Are they financially stable? Same goes for the agent. Check their reputation.
And nothing hurts like losing your deposit, especially if it's a big chunk up front. The article flags this specifically, the danger of losing your deposit. Apparently, many developers ask for quite large reservation deposits, but there's often no escrow account. For anyone listening who doesn't know, escrow is like a safe middle ground. A third party holds the money and only releases it when certain conditions are met. It protects the buyer.
Absolutely. And without that escrow protection, your deposit money goes straight to the developer. If the project collapses or they just disappear, getting that money back can be incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible.
So there's a real lack of buyer protection specifically for deposits in Thailand compared to some other places.
That's right. There aren't those strong government-mandated safeguards you might be used to, which is why the source emphasizes, again, you must verify developer licenses and title deeds with your independent, reputable lawyer before you hand over any significant amount of money. Don't skip this. Your lawyer needs to check everything: permits, approvals, the land title, and make sure there's a proper, legally sound sales and purchase agreement drafted and reviewed before you transfer a single batch. It's your safety net.
Okay, so lawyer up early, check everything, then pay. Got it. It really is about managing risk at every single stage. And speaking of risks, the article briefly mentions some other problematic legal structures to watch out for, like the use of Thai nominees, we've covered that, but also things like shell companies and layered leaseholds. What are those about?
Right. These are basically more complex ways people sometimes try to get around the rules or hide foreign control. Shell companies, as we discussed, lack real business activity. Layered leaseholds might involve complicated structures where a company leases land to another entity, maybe controlled by the foreigner, trying to mimic ownership without actually having freehold. But the core issue is the same. These structures are often designed specifically to circumvent the law. They are, as the article puts it, fraught with danger.
Meaning they can be challenged.
Absolutely. They might look clever on paper, but they can be legally weak and vulnerable if scrutinized by the authorities or challenged in court. The enforceability of some agreements within these structures can be highly questionable under Thai law.
And the consequences if these structures are deemed invalid.
Pretty severe. Consequences of invalid structures can range from legal action against the individuals involved to losing the property entirely, facing significant fines and penalties, and, in the most serious cases, even deportation and being barred from Thailand. Thai authorities are definitely getting wise to these kinds of arrangements. It's just not worth the risk.
So it really brings us back to the basics, the safeguards.
Exactly. The essential safeguards for investors remain the same, no matter how tempting a clever structure might seem. 1. Thorough due diligence. Dig deep. Get that property health check done properly. 2. Transparent business operations. Real activity, real income, clean books, pay your taxes. 3. Clear shareholder agreements. That solid prenup for your business, spelling everything out. Voting, profits, disputes. These are your shields.
So after this really comprehensive deep dive, pulling all these threads together,
Yeah.
what does it all mean for you, the listener, if you're sitting there dreaming about that place in Phuket? Beyond just the legal bits, how do you actually operate effectively within the Thai legal and cultural landscape?
Well, it means understanding local laws and regulations goes beyond just the big national rules we've talked about. You need to get familiar with local zoning, specific building permit requirements in that area, maybe environmental rules that affect coastal properties, for example. It can get quite granular.
So hyperlocal knowledge is important too.
Very much so. And then there are the cultural nuances in property transactions. This is often overlooked but can be critical. Things like, Thai culture often emphasizes avoiding direct confrontation. Building rapport takes time. patience is valued. The concept of maintaining dignity and respect is huge in negotiations. Rushing things, being too aggressive, or causing someone to lose face can really backfire. Having a local advisor who gets these subtleties can be incredibly helpful.
Right. It's not just about the law. It's about how you interact.
Precisely. And finally, it underlines the importance of building relationships with local stakeholders. This isn't just about your lawyer and your agent, though they're key. It could be local government officials you need permits from, community leaders, even just your neighbors. Building goodwill, showing respect for local ways, it can smooth bureaucratic hurdles, give you valuable local insights, and just make your whole experience much better. Ultimately, the message is clear. Owning property via a Thai company isn't a simple loophole. It's a complex strategy that demands proper expert advice, genuine business operations, and a real commitment to doing things correctly.
What a fantastic, really insightful deep dive. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Buying property in Phuket using a Thai company. It can work, absolutely. And for many, it's a viable, strategic way to achieve that dream. But the core message, really echoing Ocean Worldwide and Sandra Neal's decades of experience helping thousands, is crystal clear. That company has to be a proper working business, operating by the book, legitimately. Do it right, with proper diligence, transparency, good advice. It can be great, but please watch out for the danger. Cutting corners, using dodgy setups, the consequences can be severe, wiping out your investment. The absolute key, it seems, is getting good, independent advice from people who genuinely know Thai property law inside out and who are working only for you.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. This whole discussion about Phuket property, it's really a microcosm of global investment, isn't it? In a world that feels increasingly connected with opportunities everywhere, how does truly understanding these legal and cultural complexities like we've seen in Thailand actually empower you? Empower you to make decisions that go beyond just, the glossy brochure picture of a tropical paradise. How might applying this kind of deeper understanding, this need for real diligence and cultural respect, help you in other complex international ventures you might be considering down the line?
That is a really powerful thought to mull over. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We really hope this exploration of Phuket property ownership has given you some valuable clarity. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.